I mean, and that's just how it is, right? I don't get it.
Quick pause real fast. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, you're part of the 80% that keeps coming back but hasn't hit that button. Subscribing is free. It costs you nothing and it helps the channel more than you realize. I drop awesome content, real ownership stories, and honest takes you won't get anywhere else. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. Let's build something special together. What's up, everyone? You are on the Seagonna Speed 252 show. Scroll down, click that subscribe button, become part of this awesome community.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for pushing that play button today and joining me in another episode of Seagonna Speed 252. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button anywhere on your phone, screen, or tablet. Let's grow to 40,000 followers. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Become part of this awesome community. I got a great video for you guys today. But with that being said, this is real life stuff. As you guys can see by the title, this is stuff that Corvette owners talk about daily. And I'm going to post their replies in the video so you actually see that it's their comment. Not post their names or their faces, just their replies. It's going to be great. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to get into is somebody said their HTC has cooling issues. Now, not like cooling issues is overheating, but what he said is when he's driving his hardtop convertible with his top down and he want to put on his cooling seats, they don't work that great. He feels like it worked better in his 2014 Corvette than it does in his 2024 Corvette. Now, don't get me wrong. On a hot day with the top down, especially in this weather, you definitely want your cooling seats to work. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I sort of experienced that too. Most people don't call it cool seats, they call it ventilated seats. But what's your guys' thoughts? Is it cool seats or is it ventilated seats? Either way, sometimes they don't be cool nor ventilated. But that's because it depends on how hot it is in your area. So that's one of the things he complained about was the cool seats don't work as great in his 2024 like it did in his 2014. What's your guys' thoughts? For anybody who own a new Corvette, C8 Corvette, and own a C7 Corvette, have you experienced the same thing? Especially this could be something that's an issue when you're taking long drives, or you got black seats, or you're sitting very low in the seat, or the sun is literally beaming on the seat. Those could be reasons why the cool seats probably isn't working as great as he would like it to be, but I don't know what area this person lives in. It's just a comment I saw on a Facebook post. And I thought, how cool would it be to make a video talking about some Corvette owners' issues that they have, and it was pretty cool. I will say one of the things I do like about the Corvettes from my personal experience, and jumping onto his comment, is when you do automatic start the car, or start the car in general, and you have your cool seats on, I do like when they come on and cool the car down. But once you're in the seat, it may not be as cool. I don't know, it could depend on your body temperature, again, your environment, who knows? It could be 110 degrees out, and that may not help. I know right now when I went to Ron Fellows and I put the cool seats on, it didn't help that much. It helped, but it didn't help that much. So I think it depends on your environment, your body temperature, and things like that. Oh, maybe you could have the defective cooling ventilated seat. Who knows? Now, in regards to this one, a lot of people complain about this one. I mean, almost 99.9% of Corvette owners complain about every time you park your car somewhere, no matter where you park it, somebody park right next to it. I mean, you can park your car in California, but you live in Virginia, and somebody gonna park right next to your car. You can park your car in your garage, and some stranger gonna park their car right next to your car. I mean, and that's just how it is, right? I don't get it. I love my car. I know you guys do too, but it is a thing. It's something about a Corvette. If you park it somewhere out in public, somebody's bound to park next to it. I mean, leave your guys' thoughts down below. How many times have you literally drove your car to a restaurant or a shopping center and you parked it as far as you possibly could? I mean, you parked it in another parking lot and walked to the other parking lot, and it was completely empty when you got there. But when you show back up, you feel like people was having a party around your car. That's how many cars was parked around it. But that's just the thing. I found that comment pretty funny because a lot of people deal with that. I mean, like 99.9% of the owners deal with that. So it's just interesting. When I read that comment, I was like, I can't wait to talk about this one because this is a great talking point. You literally cannot park your car somewhere without somebody parking next to it. It's such, I mean, I remember one time this Corvette guy literally parked his car in the parking space and there was no cars there. I mean, hardly any cars there. He comes outside and there was a bike, not like a motorcycle, a cycling bike parked right next to his Corvette. It was like bizarre to me, but it was funny because he said, regardless, I'm going to park my mountain bike right next to this Corvette because they look just as good. But hey, to each their own, I guess. Now, another thing that somebody complained about, which, you know, I started experiencing this too really early on.
All right, listen up. This is huge. Lance Miller, yes, the host of Corvette and Call Out, is doing something incredible. He's giving away a 2026 Corvette ZR1 with the ZTK package, one of the most insane Corvettes ever built. But this isn't just about winning a car. Lance Miller lost his father to amyloidosis, a disease that often goes undiagnosed until it's too late. This giveaway is his way of giving back, funding research, raising awareness, and literally saving lives. So when you enter, you are not just buying tickets. You are helping families, you are helping doctors detect it sooner, you are helping save lives. And any amount helps, every ticket matters. To enter, click the link down in my pinned comment section. Click Donate Now to enter, and my discount code CGSpeed50 is already applied for you. Pick how many tickets you want, enter your name, click Continue, and just like that, you have made a difference in so many people's lives. You could win a 2026 CR1, and no matter what, you have saved a life. You guys are amazing, and let's do this all together.
Because I drive with the paddle shifters a lot, and this person said when they drive their Corvette and they try to make a turn or turn of some sorts, it's kind of hard to pedal shift. Do you guys have that issue? Because honestly, I do drive with my pedal shifters a lot here. In California, there's a lot of winding roads and a lot of hills and mountains, and using your paddle shifters is a phenomenal experience, and especially the Z mode. I mean, the Z mode is absolutely fantastic. I'm pretty sure in areas like Virginia or Pennsylvania or North Carolina with the mountains and stuff, using Z mode and the paddle shifters are absolutely fantastic. But there are other cars that have paddle shifters that when you turn the steering wheel, the paddle shifters don't go with the steering wheel, they stay planted. So what's your guys' thoughts? You think Chevrolet should do an update to that in the future, to the C9, you know, where the paddle shifters don't turn? I know some people don't use their paddle shifters, and that is completely okay. I think when I first started driving my C7 Corvette, I always used, you know, drive mode. I never really used the paddle shifters, and they were okay, but the paddle shifters in the C8 Corvette is a lot better. I learned that through my friend Mike Brink. You know, he taught me how to use the paddle shifters a little bit better than it did in my C7, and I'm in love with it. I really love the paddle shifters in my C8 Corvette, but I do have an issue as well when I try to turn my car. Steering wheel, the paddle shifter goes with it, so you kind of move your arm or finagle it a little bit to make sure you hit it, because if not, you hit the rev line and that will kind of suck. So I can see how that could be a kind of a complaint. It's not a huge complaint because I still love using them again, but have you guys experienced it where you turn left or right with your tracking or anything like that, and the paddle shifters kind of seem like you have to kind of find them because you're turning the steering wheel? Just a thought. Just another comment that somebody left in this section that I wanted to share. Now, another comment that somebody else talked about, now you guys may find this funny. I can tell you right now, this is definitely a C7 Corvette owner for sure. He explicitly said that he don't like the mid-engine platform. Now, he could have owned a mid-engine platform and then got rid of it, but based off the comment, it sounds to me that he didn't like the fact that Chevrolet went over to mid-engine. There's a lot of those people that are still out there that feels that way. And quite frankly, I get it. Some people don't like change. Some people think that, you know, the Corvette should have stayed front engine, but the Corvette was always meant to be mid-engine, and now they figured it out. And I'm glad they did, because the mid-engine platform has been great for tracking, been great for the looks, the sound, the overall drivability. So I can't really say I agree with that. Everybody has their own personal opinion. I love the fact that Chevrolet went to a mid-engine platform. Did I love my C7 Corvette? Absolutely. I absolutely adored that thing. I mean, when I bought that 60 grand Grand Sport back in the day, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, ugh, look at that C7 Corvette, that beautiful thing over there. I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing. Anytime I pulled up at a car show, I thought my C7 Corvette was the best thing out there. Anytime I pulled in my garage, I was just like, man, that C7 Corvette is beautiful. But when Chevrolet came on the mid-engine platform, I really wanted one. And don't get me wrong, as much as I love that front engine Corvette, that mid-engine platform was a beauty. I mean, just look at it. Absolute beauty. Now, don't get me wrong, the C7 Corvette looks good, but this mid-engine platform is stunning. So every time I make one of these videos where I talk about a Corvette owner's complaint or some issue they may have with the Corvette in general, not just the C8 Corvette, but all the generations, I'm gonna add in one for myself. And the one I'm gonna say about my C8 Z06 that I don't like is that I feel like it doesn't have enough.
What's up, Corvette family? Listen up. You think your ride turned heads now? Wait until you throw on a set of FogedLite wheels. I've got a set of FogedLite wheels on my Corvette and I can tell the difference is insane. They are strong, lightweight, and built to perform. Whether you got a Stingray, E-Ray, Z06, or the new 01, they can do all make and models from C1 all the way to C8. FogedLite got you covered. They can design whatever you want, however you want, in any color. And they are just not wheels. You get free ceramic coating, free lug nuts, and free shipping. Plus, these wheels will make your Corvette stand out above all the other Corvettes with factory wheel setup. I'm giving you $800 off with my personal code CGarner. Just type in www.wheeldesigners.com. Contact Jose right now at 714-588-2958 to lock in your discount and take your Corvette to the next level. Trust me, this is the upgrade that you've been all waiting for.
Is I feel like it doesn't have enough torque. I feel like the torque in the C8 Z06 is not enough. Now, granted, I heard a lot of people say based off the horsepower, the naturally aspirated 670, that it couldn't do too much more with the torque. And I get it. If that's truly the case, fine. I'm still saying that there's not enough torque in this car. This car had maybe, 50 to 60 more torque. It'll be probably not perfect, but close to it in my personal opinion. I mean, the C8 Stingray has pretty good torque for the amount of horsepower that it has. The ZR1 has plenty of torque compared to the horsepower it has. And I'm hoping that the Grand Sport has plenty of torque compared to the horsepower that it will have as well once that car is unveiled to the world. But the Z06, in my personal opinion, is the only C8 right now in the lineup that lacks torque. I mean, even the C8 E-Ray has enough torque for the horsepower ratio, but the C8 Z06 does not. That's just my personal opinion. Like I said, in every video, I'm going to make a comment of my own, so I'm not just signaling out other Corvette owners. I'm actually putting my own opinion in, and that's one of my opinions in this video, is that it doesn't have enough torque. So the first thing the guy said was the heated and ventilated seats don't work that great. The next person that mentioned, talked about the paddle shifters, and one person mentioned that he didn't like the mid-engine platform, and me, I just wish the Z06 had more torque. With that being said, you guys, leave your comments down below. What are some of the issues you may have had with your Corvette, no matter whether it was a C8, C7, C6, C5, C4, C3, C2, C1. Leave your comments down below because I want to know what issues you may have with your Corvette, because it's just, we're all here for a reason, and maybe you may have a fix for that. And if you do, let us know. We can tell people about it in the comment section and people can learn about it. So that's the whole point of making these videos for you guys, to get information from you guys as well, because we would all love to know and love all to be educated around our Corvettes. With that being said, I appreciate each and every single one of you for being part of this episode today. I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. And again, if you love those Sunday's episodes, send me an email. Let's get you on a Sunday episode as well. And stay tuned because we got some beautiful Sunday episodes coming out for you. All right, guys, have a great day. Yeah. And that will CGS 252. Yeah. And that will be able to get you a quote, and it's the best insurance.
It is.
A lot of people love it. I mean, save a lot of money.
Save a lot of money.
Save a lot of money.
I mean, it was a ridiculous amount that we saved.
Exactly.
I couldn't believe it. I jumped on it, and I used your code, jumped on it right.
I want to take a minute to talk about my sponsor, NCM, better known as the National Corvette Museum Insurance. If you own a performance or collectible car, this is hands down one of the best insurance options out there, and is way more affordable than most people expect. Whether you drive a Corvette, Lamborghini, Porsche, or any other collectible car, NCM specializes in vehicles like ours. They understand the value, the performance, and how these cars are actually driven, not just treated like a daily driver. Oh, and guess what? My subscribers have saved over $3,000 a year just by switching their insurance to NCM. They got the same or better coverage for $1,000 less out of pocket. Here's how easy it is. Click Get a Quote. It's 100% free, and as you're filling out your information from the link in my comment section or description, make sure you add CGS252 in your comment section as you fill out your information so they know that I sent you. After that, you'll get an email and a call breaking down exactly how much money you will save. If you're already paying too much for insurance on a high performance or collectible car, you owe it to yourself to check this out. Click Get a Quote, use CGS252, and see how much money you could be saving.